Well, thankfully, we have David Mickner here to answer our question. Multiplayer designer at Infinity Ward.
Good to see you guys.
Jersey.
Yeah, guys. You just crept in there. You didn't even see him. So, you know, obviously, Dome, huge fan favorite. You know, what was the reasoning for bringing it back for Ghosts?
Well, I mean, aside from being a huge fan favorite, and we wanted to take another look at the map. It's one of my personal favorites from MW3, just for the frenetic action that it brings. And one of the cool things that happened when we brought this back was, you know, we get to reimagine it in a new way. So, you know, we got to basically think about how we wanted to maybe fix a few of the gameplay elements that Alfredo was just talking about. You know, the choke point still exists, but it gives players an option to approach it from a different angle. And it's just, you know, it's a lot of fun to come back and revisit an old favorite.
Yeah, I mean, so this is taking on a bit of a extinction theme a little bit.
Right, so this is, I believe, one of the Operation Nightfall bases, and this is an excavation of an old meteor that struck a long time ago. So the interesting thing here is the overall theme of Dome still feels the same. You've got this desert-type feeling, the sand floor. Visually, it maintains part of, you know, the feel from MW3, but it still has a really new vibe to it as well. You've got a lot of new equipment, so Humvees and tanks have been replaced by cranes and I believe explosive barrels, larger stacks of them. And you've got this, instead of the giant radome, you've got this huge cryptid meteorite just sticking right out of the middle of the map there.
Now, obviously, you can see here verticality is still very much a thing. Is all of the kind of major pathways, are they maintained?
Yeah, we were really, you know, we really made sure to keep a lot of the sight lines the same so that, you know, we didn't break any of the normal map flow. Creating some of the new models to kind of match up with the old vehicles so that you don't create new exploits. You know, that was pretty important as well. Some things that did change a little bit, which will change some of the grenade throws in the map, are the giant crane that you'll see there, and the smaller one that's behind the player on screen right now. So
we're looking at it, was it yesterday, and there's actually something special on that crane.
There is something special with the crane. Won't reveal all the secrets of this map yet, but suffice to say that there is a way to get on that giant crane and take it for a ride across the map, which is pretty fun.
Oh man, that's awesome. So we got another question from Twitter, and again, tweet at IGN or Call of Duty with the hashtag Devastation Day to have your question potentially read aloud. This one comes from Eric. He says, how do you decide what maps to bring back, seeing as there's so many awesome ones?
That's a good question.
Must be hard, right?
Yeah. Typically, when we look at stuff like that, you have to look at multiple games as well. You've got Modern Warfare 1, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3. So really, we try and take a balance of them. With Dome, it was a pretty obvious choice. I mean, I think it was the most popular map in all of MW3. So that was just the top of our list.
Makes sense.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a big favorite for me. And then moving over to another Twitter question, this comes from Sir Henry. Did the subject of archaeology lead to you involving aliens and Unearthed, or was it the other way around?
I believe they always wanted to do a Extinction tie-in theme, and it just kind of made sense to go with this route. It fits in with the lore of the fact that, you know, when the Odin Rod struck originally in the single-player campaign, that's what brought these things out. You know, it was, I think, a couple weeks after that impact. So it makes sense that there's already something existing there, and that, you know, teams would find it as they searched for these facilities.
Yeah, and then obviously it looks gorgeous, like the next gen upgrades. Like, what kind of effects and other stuff have you kind of been able to add as a result of being on Xbox One and PS4?
You'll see there's some actual smoke that the player just went by there near the meteor. We've got some, overall, I mean, the visual fidelity of the map is higher on next gen. We've got some sliding doors there as well on one of the new pathways. But for the most part, you know, you're just going to see better particle effects, better visual effects in general when you hit the red barrels, cause the explosions, everything like that.
Now you mentioned the crane. Is that the big kind of dynamic event, or is there going to be a few other things?
There's a few other things in this map. So we've got the map-specific kill streak, which is actually calling in a small swarm of seekers.
Which, if you're unfamiliar, is you know, the small, very fast-moving alien creatures from Extinction.
And they do explode when they get near you, and they will take you out very quickly. So you get your own personal pack of those. They'll just kind of swarm, they'll creep off and just find targets and kill them pretty quickly. They're pretty hard to dodge.
Now, how long does that last? Is that like a...
It'll last as long as it takes for them to find someone and kill them.
Okay, so you only get like one wave.
set of 3?
Yeah, one set of 3.
Okay.
So yeah, you definitely want to choose when you want to call it out. When you're near a cluster of enemies, obviously that's the obvious choice.
Yeah, and if you're unfamiliar with the field order system in Ghosts, that is kind of randomized, right? It's like it's not always the same. You can't just game really one particular thing and ensure that you get it, right?
Right. The first player to die will always drop the first briefcase. So it's really good to fight over that right at the start. Try and get that advantage right at the start of the match. But you don't know which field order you're going to get. So it could be get a headshot. It could be kill 3 enemies. Could be any one of those. So.
Yeah, so another question from Twitter, and again, please tweet at us if you want to have your question read on stream. This one comes from Anthony. He says, is the map Unearthed better for close quarters or medium and long-range fire?
Well, going back to Dome, it's a pretty close quarters map, but there are some sightlines and lanes to lock down, so I like to snipe towards the middle lane of the map. And I'll just take people out, coming through there all day. Have someone guarding your flank, and it's all about map control.
Yeah. Well, that catwalk over by the artifact, whatever you want to call it, that's always a gamble.
Yeah.
At least it wasn't Dome. I can't imagine.
You've got some good long-range sightlines there, but you're totally exposed. So good luck. The crane though does offer some new sightlines. I've done some sniping while taking a ride across the map in that, and it's a lot of fun, but. Again, you got to be careful because you're exposed from 360 degrees at that point.
Now, does the crane rotate around in a 360 or kind of a half circle?
It basically does an arc across the map to 2 set points. You can take it back for a ride back to its original point again if you want to. You could ride that thing all day, but...
you're very vulnerable up there, for
very
sure.
Vulnerable.
And then going back to the Seekers, this is actually another question from Twitter. Luke asks, are the Seekers in Unearthed, are they different from the Extinction ones? Do they have more health? Are they faster?
They're about the same speed, same size. Health-wise, I think they're a little harder to take down. You're not going to have as much warning. You're not going to have that meteorite coming in and the electricity. You're not going to have all those visual signals to know that they're coming after you.
Well, and there's also in the Extinction, there's a much larger number of them. It seems like they come out and they come in waves. It's hard to avoid.
Yeah, we were testing out yesterday. I was like, all right, I'm going to call it in, and you're like, all right, I'm going to try and shoot and kill one. We just couldn't get one down.
Yeah, they were taking me down pretty quickly.
I think they got the crane down already.
Did they get the crane down already?
Yeah, I saw it just drop.
Oh, wow. We're looking at Tina's feed here. She's playing on the Xbox One. This is the Ripper weapon, which, we didn't actually make her use it, even because we want to highlight it, but she's actually just...
It's just a great gun to use, to be honest.
Yeah, we've had a little time with it personally, and it's just a lot of fun. It's ideal for a map like this, I would imagine.
Yeah, you've got the option to go close quarters or mid to long range with the AI version, so it basically covers every aspect of this map.
Yeah, not much recoil. It's nice to handle. So.
This looks great.
Oh, there you go. Someone's up on it right there.
So it moves around, and you actually.
It's really vulnerable, but you can just really kind of overlook over everything at that point.
Yep, and there was one small sightline change to help out, take out people from the crane, and you'll notice on the catwalk the rails on it are actually a little shorter than they used to be, and it gives the player the option to aim up and not be obstructed by a rail so they can have combat against the crane.
Another question for Twitter. This one comes from the Wedding Singer. Is Venom X easy to obtain on Unearthed? So that's the other little secret.
I wouldn't say it's easy. It's going to take probably a little bit of coordination from your team if you want to get it. I'm not going to say exactly how to get it, but I will offer up one little clue, and that's look for the color red.
All right. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the Venom X, that is a weapon that was found in Extinction and is offered as a little Easter egg in this map. Now, it's kind of like a projectile weapon, right? Like it has some explosive quality to it.
Yeah, so basically think of it as almost like a grenade launcher. And once you tag the area you want to hit, it will explode after a short time, or you can manually trigger it with the right trigger and detonate it whenever you want. Once it detonates, it will basically kill anything, players, dogs, anything in its radius. So it's powerful.
How big is the blast radius? Is it?
I'd say it's about like about a grenade blast radius. Think about your normal explosive radius, but it will leave a poison cloud that lingers for a few seconds afterwards, which can also do damage over time. So you don't want to just rush in after that thing explodes because you can use it to basically do area of denial attacks.
And how long does it last? I mean, obviously the field order, or the process of acquiring is a little hard. But
yeah, once the player has it, as long as they hold on to it and don't die, I think you've got a pretty decent amount of ammo in it. So it's not, you can't keep it forever, but you can get, I'd say, on average, 5 to 6 kills with it.
Will the poison smoke affect your teammates, or can I just throw that down on B-Dom?
I mean, as long as you're not playing a mode with friendly fire on, you're good to go. Just
perfect.
have fun with it.
Well, they're prepping for another round of Unearthed. Again, if you want to have your question read aloud on the stream, please tweet at IGN or at Call of Duty with the hashtag Devastation Day, and for a chance to win free DLC and other items. So stay tuned for that. So yeah, Unearthed. Big fan favorite here, and I think let's see what they're looking at in terms of loadouts. Let's see if Tina's going to rock with the Ripper again.
The Ripper again, or back to her USR.
Yeah.
Quick scoping as she wants to try and do.
Yeah, well, she does like to snipe on small maps. So she likes to kind of get the shot there. So let's see if we got some more. Oh. So
TP's going to take over.
So TP from Complexity is taking over the cam. So. It's going to be way better than Tina.
You rocking this? You rocking the regular controller, TP, or are you using the scuff?
I'm using the regular.
Oh,
okay.
All right, there we go.
So TP's checking out his loadouts here, doing some perks. We got some
Look
sleight
at
of
that.
hand.
All right, we got strong arm.
There's some pro tips right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's going to be freezing right
screen
there.
capping that, so I can use that again to get the Maverick here. USR.
Vector.
Look at them all.
He knows what he's doing.
The speed at which he's doing it is.
Yeah, you get to the point where you just know what you want to use, and you're just like, all right, I'm just going to swap things in and out.
So Creve asked from Twitter, and this is a more of kind of a canon thing with the Extinction, is the huge rock in the middle of one of the meters that bring out Seekers from Extinction, or do they kind of appear from everywhere?
I believe they spawn around the player,
okay.
So it's kind of like your own personal swarm that you get. We want them to feel connected to you. It's your kill streak. It's part of you. So you don't have to worry about you don't have to worry about calling them out from the middle of the map and wondering if they're going to find enemies or if they're too far away. You can just run in the middle of some guys and just lace them up.
It's like a swarm of alien guard dogs.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's awesome.
There you go. I see the MTAR with the muzzle brake and the foregrip. That's the combo to use.
Yeah, I think that's what we noticed the most of.
A lot of Remingtons.
Yeah, I was actually really surprised by the number of ARs that we saw at the championship.
Yeah, there's a lot more than I thought it would be. I think, personally, I thought going into it there was going to be a lot of just MTARs.
Yeah.
And then we saw a lot of vectors too, because that worked really well on land, actually.
Yeah. The dangerous thing about the Vector is when the players actually bring it out, like that guy's usually really good with it, and you just see him rip it up.
Yeah, that's true. Mbos from Optic, I saw him use it a lot. He was ripping into people with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely a big fan of the Remington. I just love not just the qualities of the weapon, but just the sound. The sound is incredible on that gun. It's just got this like massive, bassy punch. That's
really chunky.
Yeah, it makes you feel like you're wielding some serious power.
And we saw that used a lot to just kind of like lock down lanes, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which, that's why that gun was used.
Yeah,
I
especially
even saw like a number of LMGs during the championship. Which I
Yeah,
thought
we
was
saw a bunch of LMGs. I was like, what's going on? And then people were just like, trying to shoot through walls and kind of hit players that they, in areas where they knew that they would be there. So.
Well, the assumption with Call of Duty is always, that it's, fast-paced and twitch. So to see somebody carrying around like a hefty LMG, and there's actually a lot of just spraying into walls, which I thought was really, really funny.
Yeah, LMGs have that higher wall penetration, so they've got their value, got their purpose.
I see TP turning his sensitivity down to 3. It's interesting. Maybe I need to lower down my sensitivity. Mine's like at a 10.
I hover around the mid-range there too. Although,
he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he's got this. Yeah, the cover he goes back in and out of is pretty interesting to watch.
I think that's one of the interesting things about watching them play. We saw it just there a second ago. They don't just run out and start shooting. They like make sure that they can shoot and immediately run back into cover. So they don't really. They kind of like poke out and peep out for a second.
Yeah, so it's just like the fine tuning of like you can just, if you watch closely, you can see like how quickly he just does these small little adjustments back and forth, which is really fascinating. So another question from Twitter. This comes from Gamers Revolution. This is about the Venom X. He says, "Can the Venom X be unlocked in a private match?"
It's tied to the new dome on Earth, so you're not going to be able to just load it out into your equipment slots right off the bat. You're going to have to go seek it out in the level if you want to use it.